Hello, and welcome back to 10 Minutes of Astrology, where I ruin the future for you so that you can plan ahead for it. Let's get started. We're going to talk about Mars in Scorpio in 2031. So, at 2 degrees, we have an inconjunct to Saturn retrograde in Gemini. You can go back to my Saturn in Gemini video during this time if you need more information about that. This inconjunct let's start with what Mars is: action, war, determination, work ethic. In Scorpio, this is the silent, the watchful, the skeptical, the charming persuasion. And when it comes to things with work, this is when you need to keep a lower key. This is when you need to not really make a scene, just kind of watch it all unfold, see how things work out. And Mars is originally ruled by Scorpio, so it does like being here. And inconjunct to Saturn, though, is saying something is not right. Whatever gut feeling thing you have in your stomach at this moment that just isn't sitting well with you, that is your scorpionic intuition saying something is not jiving. Somebody, somewhere, is either two-timing me, because remember, Gemini is the sign of duality. So somebody is either two-timing me, not telling the full truth. Scorpio and Gemini, neither one of them are known for being truth tellers. Jupiter is in Sagittarius in this moment, so keep that in mind. We have then at 4 degrees is when Mars starts its pre-retrograde shadow. And at 11 degrees, we have an inconjunct to Neptune in Aries. So this is also an irritating aspect with your spirituality or other people's beliefs, how they dream and what their ambitions are and how attainable or unattainable it is. And an inconjunct here is you're acting kind of sly, kind of mysterious, like not being able to really have a Scorpio pinned down, have the scorpionic actions pinned down quite right, because they're deep in being able to figure out how this situation can benefit them. And an inconjunct is like, that is not for the greater good, for the greater God, for your creator. It's sketchy. It's sketchy. We have a square at the same time to Pluto in Aquarius, which is the transformation of the collective. So this is bad. This is saying your shifty, shady actions that you're just not wanting to get involved. You want to just, your action is to read the room, to step back, to not really be noticed, to do those little petty crimes, right? Scorpio to me is like a type of criminal mastermind. I won't say they are the criminal mastermind of the zodiac, but they're a part of it. And this is square the greater good for the greater collective of society. Now, Pluto and Neptune are sextile at 11 degrees during this. So it's definitely Mars. Mars is the problem. Because the spirit, our souls, our collective souls, our societal goals are and the transformation and the spirit of what everything is not trying to keep things in the dark. It wants it to be brought to light so that we can fix it and deal with it. People being shady Scorpios, they don't want all of their secrets being brought up. Scorpio's very secretive, and Mars is actively being secretive. So that's not jiving with the collective. We have a opposition to Chiron in Taurus at 12 degrees. And now Pluto and Chiron are also square at this 12 degrees. So like Pluto goes from 11 to 12 with Mars, and now we have Chiron involved. So the healing in your home, healing other people's homes, their values, their comforts, it's opposite this shady, secretive action. Now, I view oppositions as your choice. It's either good or it's bad. You can interpret it kind of either way. This is when you have those decisions about how you're going in this situation. You're deciding how you want to act for your home and for your values. So this comes to a head where you really get to decide, am I going to be the deep darkness, quiet, not really involved, watchful? And how is that going to impact my home and my values? Or are the things that you value in home and that you're trying to heal opposite the actions that you're taking? The square between Chiron and Pluto is also a major thing, because this big collective stuff is not jiving with what you're doing at home, and what you're doing at home does not align with the greater collective. We have an inconjunct on around March 3rd through the 7th of 2031 to Uranus in Gemini. This has been the crazy chaos in every direction. This inconjunct is your actions are not aligning with the crazy chaos. The crazy chaos is not aligning with how you want to interact with all of this. Then we go March 31st, retrograde at 21 degrees. So we're now out of the pre-retrograde shadow, which is basically the wrong time to be doing the actions that you think you need to be doing. So this whole time, your actions are on the chopping block, especially Scorpios. So now we have retrograde at 21 degrees, and at 19 degrees, we again inconjunct this crazy chaos. So Uranus makes several alignments during this period. So we're again in conjunct this crazy chaos. We come back to now Chiron at 16 degrees, the opposition to your home, your values, the things that you're trying to heal within your immediate environment. An inconjunct to Neptune in Aries at 14 degrees now, which is not aligning with your spirit and your greater power, your greater God. Square Pluto at 13 degrees. This is not... Again, this is a big problem with the collective, and the collective has a big problem with you. Like, there are big, major, these are negative alignments. We have another inconjunct to Saturn in Gemini at 9 degrees. Now, we do have very wide yads to Mars during this time. So just remember, God is pointing at you, Scorpio. It may not be pointing directly at you because it is a very large orb. So that's why I'm not bringing it into detail, but just keep that in the back of your mind. At 9 degrees, Saturn, which is the right thing to do in Gemini, which is not, it's back and forth. It's not right. It is right. They can't make up their mind. They can't make a decision. Saturn is not comfortable here. So that is not jiving with how you're trying to act. And remember, when you're retrograde, things are moving, but your actions are moving you backwards. Typically, it's supposed to help propel you forwards later. Like, you have to relearn these lessons are the ones that need to be learned again. So are you going to learn it for when you have to come back through? Because then in June 2031, Mars goes direct. So we go back to square Pluto retrograde now in Aquarius at 12 degrees. So it's quite possible that it's actually the collective that's in the wrong in this instance. There's been a lot of crazy change, so anything's possible. At 15 degrees, approximately July 27, 2031, we have another inconjunct to Neptune in Aries, again, not jiving with the spirit. We have a semi-sextile now at 19 degrees between Jupiter, and the inconjunct to Saturn is at 20 degrees, and Jupiter is opposite Saturn at this 19 to 20 degrees. And then at 20 degrees, we have a square to Venus retrograde in Leo. Now remember, Scorpios and Leos equals delusion. So break this down quickly. The semi-sextile is Jupiter is teaching Mars. So Jupiter in Sagittarius is big honesty. You can check my Jupiter in Sagittarius video for more information. But this big honesty, this big, face it fact that is humorous. Don't get me wrong, we can find a lot of humor in this chaos, is teaching Mars the biggest, best thing to do is to be open and be honest about it. Are you going to learn that lesson actively, which is Mars, action? Are you going to act on the truth? Are you going to finally learn that the truth shall set you free? Or are you going to continue to not learn this lesson and be sticky and shady? And, if you are one of those people, please tell us in the comments so that we know who you are. Of course, you wouldn't if you've got Scorpio in there, so I'm just hopeful that you'll show yourselves. The opposition between Jupiter and Saturn is also taking on a head because Saturn, not knowing which way is up at this point, is directly across from the very comedic, very fun, very honest, straightforward Jupiter. So I believe in Jupiter at this point. Then we have the sextile between Saturn and Venus. The square to Venus in Leo is delusional relationships because we have Mars and Scorpio in this mix. Venus, I do believe, enjoys being in Leo because it's very loving. It's very over the top. But this over the top abundance in your relationships may not be good for your overall actions and your overall finances. So tailor back on the spending on your loved ones, and all the same, don't feel upset when your loved ones can't afford to give you all of these big extravagant gifts and things. We have an opposition to Chiron again, approximately August 8th. So this is again, are you acting for your values? Are you acting in alignment with your home? And is your home life and your values, the things that you've stayed steadfast on, aligning now with your actions? This is where you get to make that choice. In conjunct, again, one last time to Uranus and Gemini, because the crazy chaos is not stopping. And eventually when Uranus goes into Cancer, it's just going to be an emotional roller coaster. So that's going to be great. Then Mars goes into Sagittarius approximately August 25th, 2031. Remember to press all of the buttons for me. Check my notes in the comments if you will. I've added some stuff to it. Peace out, fam. Much love.